class. I just wanted to demonstrate a different process and a different approach to scoring to picture, and this is if you only have pen and paper. So I have my my staves here, my blank sheet ready to go. I've marked my tempo and just did a quick grand staff just to get all the pitches represented, so I can have the option of writing in a higher register, lower register, and that's more orchestration, but just to have this template available. So I'm watching the film in the scene on my computer, and this is assuming if I don't have Logic, how do I approach this? So I'm going to use the time as a kind of a guide, and we did a tempo map in the DAW last time, and we've spotted this already. But if you're going straight to paper, this is kind of how the approach would be, and I'd recommend not using pen like I'm using. I'm only using pen just so it kind of stands out and you'll be able to see it a little better. But always use pencil because mistakes will happen, and you may want to change things as well. So I'm just going to hit play and kind of get started and show you my process for this. Okay, start. And this is going to require a lot of kind of start stops going back. So I know by like 5 seconds, we're full on in, and I kind of want some sort of sustain. I'm just writing notes that are just kind of arbitrary. They don't really mean anything yet. If anything, I might write descriptive words. Slow, build, soft. And I'll do gestures and things like that, like some hairpins or dynamics. And then that'll get me to 5 seconds. I don't know how many bars. Well, actually, there'll probably be, if I do the math out with the 60 beats in a minute, but I'm not going to do that right now. So I know that by 5 seconds, I kind of want to slowly build soft, from soft to loud. And then when I get to here, I don't want it to be full on full yet. So I'm going to say like mezzo forte, and then I can start to think of my first real musical idea, and I can write theme A begin. And since I don't know what that is yet, but I'm kind of going along and really sketching out a kind of more narratively and with the film. So I'm going to keep playing. And then 16, camera, rotate. Now, so I know that I need to end by 38 seconds, so I'm just gonna write somewhere down here in this section. So I know I have some ways to go in terms of musical material. But again, I'm just writing kind of ideas and moods and maybe some ideas for textures. Like if I wanted, coming back to the beginning, I can really think soft, maybe a choral texture, some voices, theme A begins, maybe some synth here. When the camera rotates, I want more motion. So I can write kind of 16th notes there. Sorry, I'm gonna move that down so you can see. So again, I'm not really thinking more outside, kind of abstract values and whatnot. Maybe for this section around, I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but this is kind of actually how I work. So from here, maybe I can do some pulses. in the base. Add lib there. And then when we get to 28, it's my arrival point. And my handwriting is absolutely garbage, so I apologize. But as long as you can well, whoever's writing, you know, if I can understand it and I know my notes, then that's good. You would do the same. If you can understand it, that's all that matters. So I know at 28 seconds, that's my arrival point. I know that I want it to be the biggest part. So I'm gonna naturally write a crescendo here, so I know that I need to build to there. And then from here, the last, let's say last few bars, last few sections, I'm just gonna write settle to kind of settle and close. So this is where I'm gonna wrap up my ideas so that I can end, you know, and fade out by the end. And this may be crude and kind of just really jumbled, but having this kind of roadmap on paper is also helpful, because when I go to actually sketch and write out the themes and write out the ideas, I know that I still have that roadmap. And you, again, the music will all be coming from in here, or if you sit at the piano, you know, okay, what do I write in 5 seconds? You have the metronome going, kind of take that process to your instrument. You know, if you play the piano, if you're writing on guitar, if you have a synth, you have a trumpet, you know, whatever you may have, you can take this kind of map here and really go from there. And you don't need any technology. John Williams still uses pen and paper to this day. When he was writing the music for the last Star Wars movie, he did it all here. Which is incredible in my opinion, just because the vast amount of music that needs to be written for the film, to do it by hand, you know. And sometimes I actually have some scores, the handwritten scores, I think from Return of the Jedi. Either way, it looks in some sections, it looks a lot like this, where it's more gestures, and then handed off to an orchestrator. You know, it's a team effort. So he writes the main themes, and then if they need a couple bars of transition, you hand it off to the orchestrator. Hey, can you fill this in a little bit? Hans Zimmer does the same thing as well. Actually, he has a whole Hans Zimmer has like a corporation umbrella kind of thing, where he hands it off to somebody who hands it off to somebody else, and then it gets back to him and he hands it. It's insane. His process is so refined, and because everyone wants his name on something, he has to have more people. It's almost impossible for him to do it just by himself. But this is kind of a good way to kind of get started in thinking, you know, what am I going to do for themes, and what am I going to do for sections? You just make sure where you mark the important times. Like I know maybe around 20 seconds here, I can say, as this is going, the camera's moving up, camera rising, moving. Always look for camera movement. If I can say one thing about scoring, it's follow the camera, follow the dialogue, follow the narrative, because that is the most important thing. So I hope this little video has helped kind of give you a glimpse into a different kind of process outside of the technology, and just to know that it is possible. It is sometimes more time consuming just because of all the back and forth, but it's not impossible. So hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you real soon.